views and opinions expressed by the speaker, host, commentator, or other third party in Arriva webinars, e-learning events, and/or virtual masterclass are those of the speaker, host, commentator, or third party and do not necessarily reflect and represent the views and opinions of Arriva. Furthermore, Arriva does not warrant, express, or imply the merchantability and fitness for a particular purpose of any product information, service, or process presented by the speaker, host, commentator, or third party, and Arriva specifically disclaims any legal liability or responsibility for the accuracy, completeness, or usefulness of any product information, service, or process presented. Finally, material or information presentation, opinion, process, or service by, on any trade name, trademark, manufacturer, or otherwise during Arriva webinars, e-learning events, and/or virtual masterclass do not constitute or imply Arriva's endorsement or recommendation of such opinion, process, service, item, or organization.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Arriva Academy's free live webinar with the topic, Developing Positive Attitude and Winning Mindset. I'm Kate, and I will be with everyone the whole afternoon as we learn from our speakers. So I am really excited to be with everyone today. Now, before I introduce our speaker, we have a few reminders to make sure that this webinar will run smoothly. Arriva is committed to protecting your privacy, hence stricter security of this webinar has been implemented. So for better viewing of your Zoom experience, we encourage you to please update your Zoom application by visiting their website. And for those of you who are using their mobile gadgets to view this webinar, you can go to either the Google Play Store or the Apple Store so you can download and install the Zoom app. Now, I want to know who here is joining an Arriva Academy webinar for the first time. If it's your first time, can you type hi here in the chat box? Also, please let us know where you are located right now, okay? We'd love to know where you are. I am here in Parañaque City. We're having a sunny afternoon here. So I'd love to know where you are because I was informed that we have a lot of participants who are viewing us from out of town. Specifically, we have friends who are from Baguio, from Bacolod, from Batangas, from Bicol, from Butuan, from Cagayan de Oro, from Cebu, from Dagupan, wow, from Davao, from General Santos City, from Laguna, from Leyte, Negros Oriental, from Occidental Mindoro, from Olongapo, from Ozamis City. We also have friends from Pampanga, from Pangasinan, from Puerto Galera, from Quezon Province, from Tarlac, Zamboanga as well. And I'm seeing a lot of you are here in Metro Manila. I've seen someone from Pasig, from Makati, from Rizal, Laguna, from Surigao. Hello. I see someone who is from Tacloban, Maupay. From Parañaque as well. Hello. I think we're neighbors. We have someone from Bohol, from Palawan, from Antipolo, from Pangasinan. Lipa, Batangas. Hello there. From Alabang. Good afternoon. From Jensen. Yes, from Cavite. From Zambales. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Welcome to our Riva Academy. And if ever you've attended in the past, welcome back. We are very happy to have you here with us this afternoon. Now, let us do an audio check. Before we started, I keep seeing a lot of messages here in the chat box that some of you are having a hard time hearing us. Okay, so let's do an audio check. Please type 111 here in the chat box if you can hear me loud and clear. You can also type 222 if you can't hear anything, or 2121 for those of you that can hear me, but I sound choppy, laggy, the sound is breaking up. And you can also type question mark if you don't understand what is happening. We'll try to help you out. Okay, I'm seeing some 2121s and a lot of 111s. For those of you who are having trouble with their audio, please make sure you ask help from someone for your audio, for the audio of your gadget, because we want to make sure that once our speaker is on screen, you will be able to hear the discussion clearly. Okay, so thank you for that. Now, later we'll have a 10-minute break and I will be announcing that something exciting will also happen during that break time, so watch out for it. Participants' microphones will be temporarily disabled by our administrator during the discussion to avoid interruptions. But for those of you who might have questions, we'll allot a Q&A portion. During that time, you can click the raise hand button, will allow you to ask your question directly to our speaker. Or you can type your questions here in the chat box, and then I will be reading them later. An e-certificate of attendance will be awarded to participants who will successfully complete the entire virtual masterclass. And as proof of your attendance, please make sure that your cameras are turned on the whole time during our webinar. Okay, for those of you who are able to, please make sure your cameras are kept on. So let's all turn on our videos. I am sure our speaker would love to interact with you, to be able to see your faces. Thank you. So the e-certificates will be available 3 to 5 days after the e-learning session. Please help us build and improve our service with your comments and feedback. You can scan this QR code. That will bring you to the feedback form. Fill out the form at the end of our session and then send it back to us. We will also post a link to this feedback form, so you can just click that link later. There you have it. Now I'm sure you're all excited to get this started. So let us get to know our speaker.
Ladies and gentlemen, your speaker, Coach Randy Esguerra.
Good afternoon.
Magandang hapon po, Miss Kate. How are you?
I am doing great, excited because we have participants from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao this afternoon. Wow.
Good afternoon to all of you, to everyone, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. Una, Happy New Year to all of you. All right, Kung Hei Fat Choy to all of you, whether you believe in the year of the rabbit or the year of bad karma, Viva Magenta, whatever you believe in. Happy New Year to all of you. But one thing I want to say to all of you is this: I hope and I pray that 2023 is your year. And that includes you, Kate. And good afternoon to all of you. Natutuwa po ako kasi maraming umaattend sa atin ngayon as we count 405 attendees na sa ating session today. So I'm so happy to see all of you. Maya pong gatpanapon, naimbag nga malam, maayong adlaw to all of you. Ano pa ba? Kulang pa ba ako sa language? Sa mga taga-Alabang, what's up?
Tagalog as well.
What's up to the peeps in Alabang? All right. So magandang
someone from Alabang.
yan. And I hope you're having good weather today. Sabi nga ni Miss Kate, weather is nice and good so far. At welcome sa inyong lahat kahit saan po kayo naroon. Si Miss Kate ay nasa Parañaque, ako po ay nasa aming probinsya. Yes, nandito po ako sa aming probinsya sa New York. Dito po muna ako nagprobinsya sa mga oras na ito. At parang kasalukuyan po akong kinukuha ng Panginoon kasi parang napakaliwanag ng araw at parang ang puti-puti ko ngayong araw na ito. So again, welcome to all of you. Thank you for sharing your time with us today. And also I want to welcome everyone watching us on Facebook. I see that may mga attendees tayo right now on Facebook. So hello to all of you wherever you are watching us from. Today we're going to be talking about developing a mindset, a positive attitude, and a winning mindset. Ako, napaka-importanting topic ngayon ito. You know why, ladies and gentlemen? Because this is the first part of the year. And so importante talaga na papasok ka ng taon na you have the right attitude. Pero ang tanong, Miss Kate, sad face ka ba pag may trabaho ka? O happy ka na nandito ka? And
Happy.
di ba? And sometimes it's okay that you're not entirely optimistic and enthusiastic at the beginning of the year. Maybe you have your doubts, maybe you have your reservations, but it's okay. And that's what this session is all about. Why? Simple lang. Hindi mo kaya, at alam ni Miss Kate ito, hindi mo kayang maging 100% positive 365 days of the year, 24/7. Pero ang purpose ng session natin ngayong afternoon na ito is that how do you maintain that positivity? And also, hindi lang positivity. Kailangan winner ka. Kailangan winning mindset. Kung kayo po ay nanonood na may mga kasama na kagrupo sa isang conference room, hello po sa inyong lahat. At please feel comfortable today and with everyone around you, and we're gonna enjoy this afternoon. By the way, I want to encourage everyone, just in case, okay, so as I continue speaking later on, I am a speaker who encourages interruption. Kaya alam ni Miss Kate yan na we encourage people to interrupt us mid-talk. Ibig sabihin, kung meron po akong binabanggit, may topic tayo at a certain moment, and you feel you have a question related to that topic, please feel free to shout it out in the chat box. Ngayon, kung ikaw ay medyo mahiyain, introverted, at kung anuman, ikaw ay pwedeng mag-message sa akin directly and I will answer your question. Bakit? Kasi sometimes we do have questions and sometimes we wait for the Q&A portion to throw it out. Pero kung minsan na nangyayari, pagdating ng end of the talk, nakalimutan mo na yung question na whatever, hindi mo na binato yung question na yun, and that question remained unanswered. So, okay lang na i-message nyo ako at si Miss Kate kung meron po kayong tanong. Also, para sa lahat ng 412 participants natin and 62 live on Facebook, tayo pa rin po ay virtual at sana'y magkita-kita po tayo personally, face-to-face in the future. Si Miss Kate, matagal ko nang hindi nakita face-to-face to, no? Kailan pa ba huli? Hipon yata ulam natin noon. Matagal na.
That was a long time ago, yeah, years.
So hopefully we get to see each other today, eventually in the future, face-to-face. Kaya, sa mga oras na ito, manalangin tayo para sa ating internet connection. Alright, so just in case, kung ako ay medyo nag-robotic, sabihin nyo lang po 222. Okay? Ngayon, kung wala talaga kayong marinig, check your device settings. Baka po yung device nyo, yung sa Zoom, at alam ko hindi naman tayo lahat ay bihasa pa sa Zoom sa mga oras na ito, so it's okay. Alright? So, if ever I'm lagging or something, 222 lang or 2121. And for some, kung okay naman at malinaw, please let me know 111. Alright? Oh, I just wanna let you know something. The reason why we're doing this, actually, we're supposed to do this, Miss Kate, months back, right?
Yes.
I'm supposed to do this in November or December.
Yes.
And the reason why we're supposed to do this in December, November last year was it was supposed to be a fundraising project. One of our partner speakers and good friend of Arriva Academy, Direk Alice Sibug, contracted cancer, I think. No, tama, no? Arriva Academy reached out to me and told me if I could be part of the fundraising drive for the medications of Direk Ali Sibug. And honest, Miss Kate, I didn't know him. I'd never met him in any of the conferences, no. But immediately, without hesitation, I said yes, and I said I'm gonna do it. And that's why, unfortunately, Direk Ali Sibug was called home by December. And so we are still continuing to do this, but we are doing this in memory of him. And that we are doing this for his light. Yan, nakalagay nga po, no, yung light na bigay ni Direk Ali Sibug sa lahat ng mga nakakakilala sa kanya. If you've ever met him, then you are a lucky person dahil you met him. All right? And talking about light, speaking about light, no, the other day, and I'll tell you this story, Miss Kate, no, I was with my dog, okay? And this young girl approached me. I was carrying my dog, and she said, And she was like that. And she stayed there just petting my dog. And I smiled and I thought to myself, I wish I could have told her. And I said to myself, and you'll agree this for all of you who are parents, there is a light about children. Do you agree? There is a light about them. Hindi lang ilaw, parang it emanates from them. Several days ago, we were celebrating the Feast of the Santo Niño. No, ang aming pari nga kinukwento niya na first time niya sa Pilipinas, he was an Italian. He's an Italian. And, he never heard of Santo Niño. Sabi niya, sabi sa kanya, Father, our mass tomorrow is for the Santo Niño. Okay? And he thought, it's for San Antonio. Okay. He didn't know what Santo Niño was. So he made a homily about San Antonio, not about Santo Niño. Anyway, the thing about children and the message of the Feast of the Santo Niño is about innocence. Tama? It's about innocence. It's about laughter. It's about joy. It's about positivity and beauty. And they see things in a different way. And that's the thing about children, right? They have a light about them. Unfortunately, my dear friends, syempre kasama ng stress sa araw-araw na kinakaharap mo, hindi lang sa trabaho, nag-commute ka pa lang. Minsan nga, kagigising mo pa lang, ginising ka na ng stress, ng aso, ng motorsiklong hanggang ngayon, wala pa ring takip ang muffler, noon na-stress ka kagad sa paggising. Na-stress ka kagad dahil wala kang shampoo. Hindi ka pa umalis ng bahay, idagdag mo pa your daily commute. Also, finances. There are stress in finances at nararanasan natin yan. At marami sa atin, sabi nga, sa huling pag-aaral ng DSWD, 51% of Filipinos feel that they are still near the poverty line or hindi pa sila nakakaginhawa. Dagdag pa doon ang mga stress ng relationships. And so, hindi lang relationships with a significant other, but also relationships with co-workers, relationships outside of the home, relationships ng mga marites na kapitbahay at mga tolits. So, may mga stress yan. And so, hindi pa dyan dumadagdag ang mga unti-unting gumagapang na karamdaman, 222. Am I clear? Do you hear me, Kate? Just nod your head. Okay. So check niyo lang po ang inyong internet connection. O yan, 222 uli. Yes? Am I clear, Kate? Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Okay,
For
so,
our participants who are having a hard time hearing, please have your audios checked. The audios
Yes.
your gadgets.
For your internet connection. By the way, if you're watching us from a cell phone, okay, that would be an issue. All right, so please check if you're plugged in. And I think a majority of our attendees are 111. All right, so salamat at letting me know para I can always check myself. I can always backtrack to what I said just in case na naglag tayo. Okay, maraming salamat po. Okay, awat na, ayos na. Okay, so anyway, there are a lot of stresses. Physical, financial, relational, work-related. And so all of these things pile up. At ano ang nangyayari? No? Yung mga quota, mga kailangang i-achieve. At alam ko, nagkaroon na kayo ng quota, debriefing and cascade and all of that. And so a lot of you understand na, oh my God, this is going to be tough. And so yung bata na sobrang punong-puno ng life, lumalaki na, biglang naging grumpy adult na. Nawawala na yung light niya. And this is the problem. And it's part of growing up. Tawag nga nila adulting di ba? And so, how do we work along the lines of the stresses of everyday life? And alam mo, ang stress ng araw-araw, you can enumerate that from A to Z. Makakabuo ka from A to Z. Lahat ng bagay na makaka-stress sa'yo. And that's why, starting this period, this January, alam mo, this is like a race. And we are in a race in higher competition levels. Bakit? Nakikita rin natin right now at this point, may mga kasama po hindi maka-join, the registration close po ang lumalabas. Maybe you can watch us from YouTube. All right? You can watch us from YouTube.
Or Facebook also.
Sorry, YouTube. Facebook.
Facebook
Are we live on YouTube as well, Kate?
Yes, yes.
Oh, yan. So you can watch us at Arriba Group. Tama?
Yes.
Arriba Group. We are live on Arriba Group.
Arriba Academy.
Arriba Academy on YouTube. All right? So we are all there, okay? Yung e-certificate po, check natin, okay? All right, please in English. Oh, I'm so sorry. So we have attendees here who are not 100% English speaking. So thank you. Assalamualaikum to you, Haznain. All right, so thank you for letting me know. So again, we are in a race. You can see that at this period of time, we have this term now where we call, we all know this, it's called revenge travel, revenge business. In fact, since May 14, when the end of the elections happened, okay, I think what I saw was when elections happened and everything subsided and everything was eventually done and dusted, suddenly there was a surge in business. I think it was a wait and see attitude for a lot of people, and then business started to boom. And so you can see now higher levels of competition. And that's why we need to really push forward and be better and be faster and more agile at this period of time. And so today, ladies and gentlemen, I will give you some tips on how to develop a positive attitude and a winning mindset. So here are my tips for all of you. Number one, and I'll start out with this: master your circumstances. What does that mean? If you haven't read the book by Mark Manson, and you know what, nauuso, it's becoming very popular, these types of books where there's a lot of cuss words, right? And these are really absolutely phenomenally best-selling books so far. And one of the things that, and if you have read any of these books, type in me. All right, if you've read any of the two books out here that I'm showing on the screen, type in me. Yeah, Angela. Yeah, she's read it. Okay, and one of the amazing messages of these books by Mark Manson is this, and there you can line up at least 50 great quotes from the book, and one of them is this: that you cannot be 100% positive all the time. But also it is this: the things that happen to you, not all of them are your fault. Let me say that again. The things that happen around you, your circumstances, or what we call your situations, are not always within your control. For example, traffic, the economy, right? There are a lot of things that are beyond you. COVID was not your fault, all right? Whether you transmitted it to someone else, that's your problem. But the idea is that happiness, and this is what they said, the author said, that when we deny our problems, we are denying ourselves the opportunity of solving the problem. And from another book, it said that happiness is all about solving a problem. And this is where the adventure of life happens. So the beauty of circumstances is that sometimes it is beyond your doing. It's not your fault. But the question is now, how do you carry yourself? You can take this as EQ, right? Emotional intelligence, how you carry yourself, self-control based on self-awareness. How do you carry yourself in these kinds of situations now is your fault. That's all about you. And so Mark Manson said, he said it's not about trying to find a reason for everything. In fact, since 2016 on my Twitter, I already posted this. I said, I had these two lines of what I call toxic positivity. Maybe you've been hearing this for quite a while now, where there is this trend where people are trying to be positive, but the effect is actually becoming adverse. For example, and this is what I said, you can't always think positive. Also, sometimes the best excuse for a lot of people is, well, everything happens for a reason, right? And that's what common people do to get away from robbing themselves of solving a problem. And so what they're doing is trying to make themselves believe that it will all go away. But actually, the reality is you have something to do with what could happen to you if everything else fails. Here's another part, and this is what I wrote just, I think, this year or last year. I wrote this post about people trying to sound positive to others, but it has a negative effect on them. I got this idea from the NBA. where, you can see these players who are the dominant players in the NBA trying to bully younger players. But when you interview them, they're going to tell you, oh, I'm just trying to pump up my team. No, I'm just trying to make them better. But actually, it's dampening their spirits. Like famous lines like, oh, if you cannot shape up, you can ship out. Or I only demand the best. That sounds absolutely positive. But it has a negative connotation on people. And so this toxic positivity is something that we have to get rid of. Because, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes there are circumstances that are beyond you. And so let me ask you this very simple question. And Bank Recon, Bank Recon, it was a job I used to do before. All right, I was in audit before. All right, so you have a question for me, and I'll answer that later on because it is related to one of my topics later. All right. So anyway, here's my question, and please type it in the chat box. What do you think, my dear audience, my dear 434 and 100 on Facebook? I don't know yet on YouTube. What do you think is the opposite? And I'm going to type it in. Okay. Just imagine, for example, that we are face to face. And this is me. When we are face to face, I require a gigantic whiteboard because I love writing things down. And in the absence of a whiteboard, we're using now our chat box. So I'm going to write it down here. And so here's my question. What is the opposite of faith? Wrong spelling. What is the opposite of faith? Type it in. Come on, I want to see your answer. Faith, foot. Okay, good answer. Alex, fantastic. Doubt, fear. Yes, sounds correct. Foot, faith, foot. Medyo piloso. Let's go. Disbelief, doubt, afraid, odd. Okay, the opposite of fear, hopelessness. Opposite of faith pala. Opposite of faith. Yeah. Mistrust. Okay. Hopelessness. Despair. Wow, these are the siblings of of the Sandman. Cynicism. Pangpatalino. Okay. Discouragement. Okay. My dear friends, I think that the opposite of faith is this. Ready? You might miss it. It's control. The moment you lose faith, when you don't have faith, is when you start to control things. And that's the beginning of stress. When you're trying to control everything around you, you cannot control traffic, you cannot control the weather, you cannot control other people. My dear, you cannot even 100% of the time control your children. And so the idea is that sometimes the stress that we encounter is a lot of the things that we do to ourselves. And so we can only master the circumstances that we have. And the moment you lose that need to control everything is when you start developing an attitude of positivity. Because sometimes you want to even control positivity. You're trying to control it and say, think positive lang and you're trying to control circumstances, and that's not going to happen. And this is now my answer to you, my friend, who messaged me directly. Before, in 2009, I used to believe in the law of attraction. In fact, I was so enamored by the book and the series or the movie, The Secret. I was so into it. In fact, I even attended Jack Canfield's Law of Attraction. I even had this book, his manual, this thick, this big. Now, Jack Canfield is one of the leading authors of that attraction theory. And I believe that, and I'm sorry to burst the bubble of some of you, that sometimes trying to control things adds to your stress. You see, the problem of the law of attraction is this. It teaches you to attract things, right? But you won't attract everything. Tinry ko eh. Hindi talaga nangyari. No? I imagine that, and I'll be completely honest with you, I really honestly, genuinely manifested a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 10 at that time. That was years back. Yung car model at that time. Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 10, Evolution 10. Never happened. Okay, I ended up with the Corolla. Anyway, and so it does not teach you how to handle rejection. It doesn't teach you how to handle something when it doesn't happen. And that's why you're trying to control even faith. In fact, if let's be spiritual about it, sometimes we're trying to control even God. I was talking to one lady just last Friday, and she was telling me the story that even phone calls from unregistered numbers disturb her. She gets afraid, she gets paranoid, until at a certain point, she gets to the point where she tells me she's afraid of death. And I think, and after this lengthy conversation, I told her, maybe your problem is the need to control things. I asked her, OC ka ba? And control freak ka ba? And all of that. And that's why trying to control everything only adds to your stress. In fact, try it, okay? This is what you do. When you're in traffic later on, okay? Sumigaw ka. Magwala ka. Just shout at the top of your lungs and just be mad and see if traffic will go faster. It won't, because you cannot control everything. And that's why, my dear friends, trying to have that sense of control will be futile for a lot of you. Number 2. So master your circumstances. And number 2, feel your goal. Ano feel your goal? So this month is the period of quotas. Yes, eto na, we have our sales kickoff. Charan, charan. And you know what? I have actually 4 talks this week. This is my second. Next week, I have few talks again. I'll be really busy with a lot of kickoffs. January sales kickoffs, and this is the ushering in of the new year, and they're gonna tell everyone this is the quota, and buis boomba, let's go, right? And of course, when the quota is revealed, everyone is like, oh, deflated, right? And of course, we're gonna invite speakers like myself to the audience and all of that, and of course, the question at the back of everyone's mind is this possible? Can we do this? Is this humanly possible? Hit this quota. And I always tell people, number 1, do you see your quota? And they'll tell me, yes, we see it. But my second question is this: do you see your numbers, but do you feel your numbers? Because the next question is, do you feel you can do it? And feeling your goal is all about understanding the emotional side of where you want to be. See, the problem is we're always looking at a number. I'll give you an example, all right? So when you start to become deflated in looking at your goals and your quotas and what you want to achieve, even weight goals, yeah, and even the waistline that you want to achieve and the fitness level that you want to have, all right? All of these goals that you want to achieve, sometimes they can be dampening because of the intimidation of the number. Right? So let me give you an example. All right. So let's try this out. Okay. So in 5 steps, and this is what I ask people to do in my talks. No, I ask people to try to imagine how are they going to reach their goal on a 5-step level. So let's say, for example, all right. So let's say, for example, what would you do in 5 steps starting today? How will you lose, what did I write down? How will you lose 5 pounds in 6 months? Yeah. Okay. Question. How will you lose 5 pounds in 6 months? Type it in. What would be your first step? Come on. I want to see. What would be your first step? Proper diet. Okay. Anyone else? Make a plan. Make a plan. Meal plan. Okay. Discipline. Exercise. Gym, change your attitude. Mag-change ka lang ng attitude mga 5 months. Sige natin kung mapapagawin mo. Set your goals, search, exercise, Zumba, fasting, okay? Consult a dietitian, change of lifestyle, okay? And then, eventually, right? Eventually, start making your plan, right? So, step 1, step 2, step 3, right? And some people, yes, do not even know their weight and are afraid of stepping on a weighing scale. Okay, so let's say, for example, okay, These are probable steps. Half cup rice in first week, yan pa lang. Okay. Run 2 kilometers every other day. Oy, for other people, 2 kilometers is very tough already. Okay, so that's already a daunting task, right? Visualizing how papayat ako. All right. And then lose 3 pounds in 3 months. Now you're running 5K every other day. If you do not lose weight there, I don't know. Now, here's my question. Look at that list. Let's say this is your plan, or you have a meal plan, diet, fasting, IF, right? Intermittent fasting, right? You do whatever you want to do. Here's my question. Do all of these things, the things that you wrote down right now, do they sound exciting? Let me know. Do they sound exciting to you? No? No? Exactly. They're not. Imagine, honestly, right, Rosalie? Waking up in the morning to run to, come on, are you serious? Even for me, who's very active in sports, it sometimes I'm just pulling myself out of the bed just to run or bike, right? To exercise. And it's true. Be honest to yourself. It's, ang sarap kaya kumain, right? It's saying no to rice. It's saying no to sisig, right? Saying no to sugar. It's not exciting, right? And that's the thing. You cannot feel your goal. And that's why you become deflated and you start losing out on that diet. In fact, I'll just say it in Tagalog for those who are English speaking here. Magpakatotoo na tayo, nag-uumpisa ka ng lumusot, dumulas sa iyong tama, nag-register ka sa gym, tama, nag-diet ka, sabi mo, ano na nangyari? Ayan na, bahala na. No, when studies have shown that by December, January, membership and engagement in gyms start to pick up, right? And then eventually through by the month of March start already to slide, right? And so it's not exciting. Let's be honest about that. And so how do you now feel your goal? And so here's a few steps and tips that I can give you, okay? Rather than looking at numbers, which can be daunting and intimidating, maybe you can start looking at motivating milestones. What are motivating milestones? Here are some of them. Milestones are wins, right? And every time you gain a win, that's something to celebrate, something to enjoy. In fact, you can even give yourself a treat or a reward for having this, okay? So here's probably maybe my first tip. Rather than looking at a half cup of rice every day, my goal is to fit in older clothes because my pants seem to shrink. And like this shirt is starting to shrink. No, it's not. It's you. It's you. So maybe that's the first step. And that could be something already a motivating factor. Now, let's say you've already accomplished the first one. I'm now fitting in my old clothes. The second one would be, hindi na ako hinihingal. I'm not panting like a dog when I am coming up the stairs. I am jumping up the stairs like it's okay. And I can breathe properly. I can even run while making a conversation, right? And so that could be a milestone. And for some people, going to the office, going to the MRT, right? Going onto the stairs and walking back and forth to the office and to the bus station, it is an exercise in itself, and not losing your breath could be a good milestone. Number 3, now I feel lighter. That's a good feeling. You feel lighter, more agile, right? And so now you're making progress. And these are the milestones that make you feel your goal. You're getting excited now. And by step number 4, uy, kumakats ka na te. You're smaller shirt size now. And so now you're looking better. And now you're seeing the gains that you worked for months. And now you're seeing it's becoming something addictive. You don't want to lose it. And now, ultimately, maybe at the end of 6 months, what could be an ultimate goal may be doing 21 kilometers. That it will garner you the same weight loss and probably more, but also highlight and see the thing about going to the gym and exercising is that what are you going to use it for? And that's sometimes a question for a lot of people. Why do I do this? Why do I punish myself? Why do why I even pay money to just hurt myself, right? And so for us, like for us in our team, we have an active sports team where we always register to a race or to a cycling event because we want to be prepared for something. We want to use our fitness for something. And a 21-kilometer, a 10K, or even just a 5K, right, is already a good goal because it will give you the same results. And also, you feel your goal. I hope you're liking that, all right? So number one, again, don't control your circumstances. You cannot control everything, only the things that you can. Remember, we worry about 40% of the things we cannot control. Let me say that again. We always worry. Hello, Miss Cherie. How are you? Hello to everyone from H2O. Hotel H2O is open already, right? So everyone, please come over and see them. And hopefully you could be able to visit their hotel as well. Again, we worry about 40% of the things that we cannot control. Number two, try to look at motivating milestones so that you can feel your goals better, not just looking at a number that eventually will fall you off the scale. Number three, regulate the mood of your environment. Studies have shown that the environment plays a crucial role in the regulation of a person's mood and co-directly, consistently over time, also boosts productivity. In fact, in the book, A Better Place to Work, it lists every single company that tries to regulate how they create the environment so that employees become more satisfied and also become more engaged and productive. The problem is, of course, there are a lot of parts in our environment that are not always savory, right? Hindi lahat. For example, co-workers. There are co-workers that can be annoying. Type it in the chat box. What are several things that co-workers do that annoy you? Come on, type it in. I want to see. Bida ang sarap, bida-bida, Jollibee, chismosa, pabibo. Ayan, si Marites. Kawawa naman may mga pangalang Marites. Credit grabber. Sige, grab my credit card. Acting like the company owner. Yan ang COO, child of the owner. Okay, murmuring. Alam ang lahat. Mamaru. Nagmamagaling. Wala namang alam. Tuham. Grabe naman ang ano. Kailangan nyo ba ng Manila paper para dito? Akala tagapagmana. Wow. Ito ang mga inheritance. Make me anonymous. Boss na nakasimangot. Okay, I won't call you out. Walang ginagawa. Ayan, delegating task. Ayan. Delegating but mabaho. All right. That is a problem. All right. Okay. Si Mata. Yes. Okay. Oh, tama na. Awat na. Iyak na. Tahan na. Okay na. Okay na. Laging late. All right. Now, here's my question. Here's my question. You ready? Oh, tama na. Akala mo boss. Di naman boss. Busabos lang. All right. Okay. Here's my question. Who among the two of you, that person and you, who among the two of you is stressed? Isn't it you? It's you. Is that person stressed about you? I don't think so. And so, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes regulation of mood is not external. It's about you. And ladies and gentlemen, sana stress din siya. I hope so. Stressin mo rin. Right? I'm going there. Okay. And so, ladies and gentlemen, here are several ingredients that I can help you with, especially if you're a leader right now. Okay, so if you're a manager or you're a leader or a supervisor or a team leader, here are several tips that I can give to all of you. All right, and it concerns a very important culture. What if within the immediate family is the big challenge? Food is always abundant and sedentary lifestyle. Well, number one, Rosalie, that is the effect of abundance. Sometimes we gulp down, we devour our our abundance. And it always takes one person to kickstart someone else. Are you getting me? And this is also related to the job. Okay. Sometimes we, content creators and social media influencers, when you ask them, they always say, I want to inspire people. I want to inspire people. But the reality is this, it takes one person, it takes just one person to affect someone else. And if you can be that person who becomes the right, you see, the problem is if you are in a toxic environment or a not so savory environment, it sometimes can actually eat you up, right? And you become them, right? You can't beat them, join them, right? But it only takes one person to inspire someone else. And hopefully by your actions and results, you see, it's not about the talk. It's not about you talking. Mag-exercise ka nga, magtrabaho ka, etc., etc. Umayos ka nga, pabida, right? But by being a person different, a person who works on positive change, and you actually make results, and people are seeing you because of this, it makes other people want to be like you. And hopefully that could be the spark of something else. Because Dr. Margarita Holmes once said, when you say something, that's enough. But when you say it again, you're becoming redundant and you're becoming a nagger. Let me say that again. When you said it once, that's good enough. But when it's still being done, it's only going to make things worse. Did you get that? And so rather than your talk, show it in your walk and show that you are making results and headway, and hopefully other people will do the same thing. Okay. For those who want to invite us, you can message Kate here or our Ariba team. You can see their name. They're Ariba, JP Ariba host. Okay. You can message them on how to reach us and hopefully be with you face to face with your team. Okay. Again, going back to environment. There was this famous culture that was implemented by a small company. You probably have heard of them. I don't know if you've probably heard of them. Their name is Google, right? They have this culture where it is called psychological safety. Psychological safety is a culture that they implement there. It's becoming a model for a lot of different companies to follow. And you can do this at your own office. You can actually create this culture where it can create better engagement, create better mood, regulate the mood of everyone else, and hopefully make everyone productive. And yes, these three ingredients can also be done at home. Yes, it can be done at home. What are the three ingredients? Number one, make sure everyone is heard. Empowering people to speak is very powerful because now people feel that they have a stake in the business. People have a say in the organization. And according to Dr. Adam Grant's book, Give and Take, he said, givers are people who make more productive followers. And when you make everyone heard, and in fact, one of the best advice, okay, thank you, Kate. The best advice I can give you, my dear friends, if you're a leader, you're a manager, one of the best advice I can give to you is this. And I want to write it down. If you want to take notes, please do so. Be the last to speak. Be the last to speak. Make everyone be heard first. It's not necessarily a complete democracy, but rather open the door for everyone to be able to be heard. And this is also the backbone of diversity and inclusion. Be willing to hear everyone else. Number two, you can create a culture where it's okay to make mistakes. I know a lot of you are Gen Xers. A lot of you grew up in an environment where making mistakes was a no. Nakakita ka ng lumilipad na tsinelas. Lumilipad na hanger. And that's because we are not allowed to make mistakes. But Jim Collins in his book, Great by Choice, said, experimentation is found in sometimes making mistakes. But if you let people make mistakes and it's okay, you can correct them. Because the moment you start becoming a dictator and a Nazi to people who make mistakes, people start hiding their mistakes. And then you begin to have a culture of theft and bribery and pilferage. And so it's not a healthy culture. And then last but not the least, number 3, can you work in peace? Subukan na natin. Sa mga nakabukas ang camera, let me check, all right? If your camera is on, oh, hello, TMPP. Hello, everyone. I want to give you a wave. Hello, ang dami nila. Oh, there's a lot of them there. Hello, EPCC, CDO office, Mayam, Mayam, ano ba? Ayun, bahala kayo dyan. Okay. Hello po to everyone. Kalimutan ko na yung language ko. Anyway, here's my question. If your answer is yes, you go like this. If your answer is no, you go like this. Okay? Here's my question. Do you believe? Do you believe? Hello, Miss Carla. Do you believe that the person behind you, beside you, around you are not speaking things behind your back? Yes or no? Okay. Next. No. Okay, next. Do you believe that the person beside you, behind you, in front of you, around you, has your back when problems happen? Yes or no? Okay, okay, all right. Because that's the question. If you can work in peace where the people around you, you can rely on them. And that even though you make mistakes, you can count on them to correct you. And if that could be possible, then you are in a psychologically safe environment. And ladies and gentlemen, here's another thing. If for example, you cannot control the environment around you because there are people who are credit grabbers, power trippers. You know, there are people who, when they come inside the room, they go inside the room, it darkens a room. Nakakita ka ng taong pag pumasok sa kwarto, dumidilim ang kwarto. Yes, have you met people like that? Yes, where, oh, ba't ang dilim? Ah, dumating yung Queen of Darkness. Ayan na. So, and if you cannot control these kinds of people, at least what you can do, and that's Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, is that you can also control the environment in your mind. At least in your mind, you have control over your own moods. That's what Mark Manson said in his book. Yes, then, as if wala lang for them. How do they do that? I don't know. All right. One thing is for sure. Even if you blabber and nag people who have a bad attitude, they'll probably tell you, well, basta wala ako tinatapakang ibang tao. Basta I love myself. Positive toxicity. And that is why we are going to jump on that after the break. Miss Kate? Miss Kate, are you there?
Yes, a lot to talk this afternoon. So again, let us welcome our speaker coach, Randy. Hi, Coach.
Hello, everyone. So I just wanna, parang nag-iit bulaga tayo dito ah. So I want to give a shout out to everyone at Philen, Urdaneta, and Quezon. I also saw here, I also want to say hi to everyone watching on YouTube. The 150, I think, lately I saw on YouTube watching us and on YouTube, and the 120 plus watching us on Facebook. PIMES or PIMES Corporation, hello to all of you. Masantosya Kabuasan, to everyone, shout out, all right, to all of you, hello, good afternoon, and I'm so happy that you're still here with us. So technically have almost 700 attendees for today. So for everyone attending an Arriva Academy session in the future, you know what to do. Watch from a laptop because you can win GCash money, all right? You cannot type in on a cell phone while watching us today. Hello, Fortune Life. I had a talk for Fortune Life like way back when I was a little baby. Hello, sabi ko na nga ba, dire-diretso na yung mga shout out. Ayan, School of St. Anthony, Lagro, Novaliches. Hello to everyone. Kamusta mga taga Camarin? Okay, everyone from Pangasinan, Masantosya Kabuasan. All right, Fortune General Insurance. So let's go back to our topic today. Now we said that, so let me just recap what we said just a few minutes ago. Number one, we can regulate the mood of our environment. But also, here's the thing. Years back, we had a session in Arriva Academy where I called the session, so this was the main idea of the session was called Four Seasons, no? And the idea of Four Seasons is this: if you think about it, everything magically is divided into four. Think about it: a year, 4 quarters, right? A month, 4 weeks. Time is 4 quarters as well. Every basketball game is 4 quarters. Almost everything magically and interestingly is divided into four. And the thing about that power of four is that we're now here at the beginning, right? We're on the first season. So you can call it the first quarter, you can call it the first month, right? And the second season or the second part is what we call mobilization. So the first part is the visualization. We're trying to see now the future and casting the future to everyone else. The second quarter is about movement. It's about mobilization. So getting everyone on board, but also at the same time, making everyone now begin to work. The beginning is about getting the buy-in from everyone. And then the second part is getting everyone to be participant of the goal. And then there will be a quarter three. And this is also consistent with the life cycle of products. There will always be a quarter three. And the quarter three is what we call the slump. Slump. A slump is when things don't go the way you plan. There starts now rejection. There starts now conflict. There begins silo mindset. People doing what they want to do. There is desperation. There is tiredness. People start asking questions, and that's what we call the slump. What I'm trying to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is this: sometimes and this message is not just for the beginning of the year. I'm sending you a message that hopefully you can carry throughout the entire year, because that's what this is about. The fourth part is looking at results. If you want to continue to become motivated, sometimes, and there's always this concept where I hear from a lot of leaders, and please type in, if this is you, type in me. If you are a leader, but you're not a very vocal person, come on, type in me. Yeah. Hello, Jean. You're very active. Okay. Type in me if you're a leader, but you're really not a vocal person. And so one of the problems of an introverted person or a shy person is that they're not really expressive of themselves. Not like extroverts who are all out there when it comes to praising people and motivating them. And sometimes introverts can be people who ask themselves, what's the right thing to say? What do I do? And if you want to be a good motivator, my dear friends, this is the first step for you. Focus on gradual results. Sometimes we will lose track of what we want to achieve. Sometimes we will go and hit a slump. We will be rejected by customers. There will be pullouts and there will be returns. No? And that happens, and that's natural. And that's why we do not deny the reality of the situations. One of the worst things you can say to yourself is that everything will be all right. You have to accept the reality that there is a problem to be solved. And part of that is the slump. You lose motivation, you lose your focus, and type in amen if you agree with me na hindi araw-araw ganado kang pumasok sa trabaho. Ayan na, hindi pa tapos yung sentence, amen na agad, right? With the long and, right? It's true. Not every day we're so excited to come to work. In fact, even me with a very exciting job, there are days that are just heavy. Kaya sorry po kay Donalyn. Okay, let's say our prayers to Saint Donalyn, all right? The patron saint of labor. And one of the ways to get you still back on the boat is this. I have a question for you. And if you can do this with me, ladies and gentlemen, can you just flip out your phones? Can you just take out your phones, my dear friends? And if you can do this, this is what you do, okay? I want to just check how many cell phone games. This is an ongoing game that I do, all right? How many cell phone games do you have on your phone? I just want to see. Wala, 0, 3, 2, 4, 5. Okay? 6. I'm looking at numbers. Ang bilis, oh. The chat box is like flaring up, parang presyo ng sibuyas. 9! I saw 9. 11. Okay, I'm trying to check the overall winner, the highest number of self. 19! Ayan, that's the The games lang po, all right? Okay, how many cell phone games do you have? See, seriously? May time pa ba yung phone mo for anything? All right? Okay. Why do we love cell phone games? Why do we love video games? And that is the allure of video games. You know what makes it so addictive? I have one. Okay, I have one. And this is the game I play for like forever. Okay, 42. Jesus, my Lord. Okay, 42. I don't even know how you start looking at the next game. All right, 38. Download ng kids ko po. Okay, that's not your fault. The game you called life. Wow. Hola. All right. But the reason why we love cell phone games and the reason why it's so addictive is that it gives us, like ko po ha, so that everyone, anong Estes? What's Estes? Okay. Cell phone video games give us immediate feedback. It gives us immediately the feeling that we're going to another level, that we're defeating the boss fight, and that we're now at the next level. You have new skins, you gain new points. It's about gradual results. If you want to maintain that level of motivation and a winning mindset, sometimes at the third quarter of the basketball game is very crucial, because sometimes in the third quarter is where teams win or lose. And that is why looking at gains is one of the best way to keep everyone motivated. And if you're not a very vocal motivator, it's okay. But show people results. In fact, show people numbers. Look at your growth. Just that. In fact, my teacher showed me that. You know, I was a terrible high school student, and you know what she did? Showed me our grades, showed everyone's grade before announcing it. In fact, that was not allowed, right? But my teacher showed it to me just to show me my progress. Is the saying slow progress is still progress? Not really. It's still progress. Progress is what I don't want is that, for example, and I'm just answering the question of Jana here. One of the worst toxic positive lines I've ever heard. I hear this always from a country manager. He always says, good is the enemy of great. So he's always about great, great, great. And so he's always talking about great to people. And so it can be very toxic to everyone because always expecting great, but they're not even good. Are you getting the point? I guess you start to become good first, and then you start to become excellent, and that's what you call progress. And that is what you call gradual results, if you want to maintain your motivation. So, where are we? Master your circumstances. You don't control everything. Get the rush of your goal by looking at milestones. You can regulate the mood of your environment. Try to regulate the mood of your cubicle if you can. Fill it with pictures, right? Give it good lighting. If you're work from home, you can control your area, right? But also very important, you control the environment of your mind. It's all within you. If everyone else becomes toxic, you know, I once had a toxic boss. She was a new boss and she was the queen of darkness. Before there was Wednesday, there was a Sunday, right? She was Black Saturday, all right? And you know, my other boss told me, and this is the amazing thing about mindset, is that he told me, you know what? Tignan mo, baka may pinaghuhugutan siya. Tignan mo kung saan siya galing. And I told my boss, I want to resign. And you know what he told me? Does it guarantee you that you will be with a better boss? Or you might end up with a much worse boss. And so it's about the way he controlled how he thought in his environment that made him an inspiration to me, because I learned from him how to regulate myself and my moods. Number 4, focus on gradual results and don't stop moving. I'll say that again. Don't stop moving. Studies have shown that exercise has been absolutely phenomenal. Did you know that the National Center for Mental Health had a 92% increase in phone calls and inquiries on anxiety, depression, and suicidal tendencies? It was a period of everyone feeling down. And I can understand and I can relate to everyone na may pinagdaanan during this period of time. Probably lost people, you probably lost your business, you probably lost something. And one of the greatest proofs of getting out of anxiety and depression is movement. Let me say that again, movement. Just move. And I don't mean just do a 21-kilometer, just cook breakfast. Just do something. Get out. Go out, look at the trees, walk barefooted, right? Touch the grass and just move. And I have seen that a lot of suicidal tendencies have happened to people who want to isolate themselves and not move. And what happens is, as they isolate themselves into that bubble, and we've heard that word before, the bubble of the self, they're not moving and they become sedentary. They lock themselves in, including their emotions. And that becomes a breeding ground for so many bad thoughts. And so movement is about just do something. And it's not just about exercise, because exercise has proven that it has increased mood regulation, better oxygenation, increases our levels of cortisone, where it is the feel good, right? Feel good hormone. So it is improving our overall stress levels. Is body positivity an example of toxic positivity? They say it's an excuse to lose weight or promote. I absolutely promote trying to be active, right? And sometimes the problem with the toxic positivity part is that when vanity starts to come in, okay, when it starts to become, and sometimes you don't have to be very sensitive on a lot of things when it comes to positivity. It all depends on, again, the way you regulate your thoughts, the way you interpret things, and also maybe a lot of times always have that benefit of the doubt. Oh, maybe he's just, like, for example, the hashtag feeling blessed, right? A lot of people hate that, and etc. Wag mo nang picturean yung pagkain mo, kainin mo na lang, and all of that. And maybe and when you think about it, baka naman people worked hard for it. It was the first time they ate that meal. Give yourself that question, what if, right? And in the same way with movement, it is the ability now to regulate your body. And that improves your mood. But also, it's not just about the body that we're talking about. We're also talking about relationships. No, one of the things that also affect people under depression and anxiety is that they detach themselves from social interaction. And what happens is, again, a lot of people want to help, but they don't want to reach out. And what I'm saying here in this context is, other than anxiety and depression, when you are in sales, my dear friends, when you are in a slump, just keep working. Just keep moving. And the beauty of movement is that you never know the avenues that open up for you that could be a potential sale later on. And so creating relationships, not just when it comes to regulating your mood and creating your safe space or your own circle, but it's also about extending your social circles, but also your professional circle, where you might be surprised to find out that other people are also looking for the same thing. And the beauty of movement is this: when you start moving and you don't stop moving, you find new avenues, new territories, new ways to sell, new ways to find better and do things better. Real estate has for the longest time been stagnant because of the old way of selling. Flyering, just booths in the malls, right? You know them, yeah? Sir, investment po, right? And now that they start moving toward the digital age, suddenly there was a boom in the sales of real estate, which I will talk to you about in just a bit. And so when you continue moving, not just for your body, but also for your relationships and your target markets and your possible leads, you find places where you never found them because you weren't looking. I remember when I was a younger salesperson, a lot of my boss always discounted this one client because, don't talk to them. They don't buy and all of that. And you know what I did? I talked to them. What could go wrong and what should I lose, right? What's there to lose? And so I start talking to him. And when he started seeing someone approaching him, finally he said, someone got my attention. His first PO, purchase order with me, was 24 million pesos. And my boss just fell out of his seat because he didn't look at the avenues that were possible. Okay. It is even true with traffic, heavy traffic. While on the move, suddenly you find a spot to move further. True. Just keep moving. And then the last point, my dear friends, is this. I know this is the last point. I know you want some more, but please, we'd like to see you at your offices with your teams so that we can share these messages to everyone else and we can talk about other topics as well. My last point is this. Never stop being hungry. At hindi ko po tinutukoy ang merienda. Okay? At para sa mga laging gutom dyan. Alright? Mga wakatatam. If you don't know what wakatatam is, just ask your nearest tambay. The point of never stop being hungry is this. Why would a Kobe Bryant lift weights at 4:30 a.m. when everyone, if you've seen the 111, am I okay? Don't stop. I'm okay. 111. Thank you, Rosemary. All right. For those who are 222, please check your internet connections. All right. Why do they keep going? Why would Michael Jordan wanted to come back for a 7th championship, even though he could have won a 7th? Okay. But beyond the politics of the Chicago Bulls, why would these companies, these people still try to look for more? Why do they want to do this? Why do companies now, at this period of time, still flourish in a time of a pandemic? And I want to ask you this very important last question. My question is this. Para kanino ka bumabangon? Come on, type it in. Para kanino ka bumabangon? For my kids, for my mother, para sa sahod. Pag walang sahod, di na ako mabangon. All right, why do you get up? What makes you want to get out of bed and go to work and do the trudges of commute? For myself, some people say for my dog, for the future, para sa bill, Nescafe, para sa Nescafe, for myself and my loved ones, for my family and dogs. Ayan na nga, try to be better than yesterday. Parang kanta, no? Para work environment ko. For the utilities, of course. Ayan na, sometimes for the Judiths and the Junas. Let me share with you an idea that maybe might sound off, tangent for you, might sound strange, might sound controversial. But over the period of this 2.5 years, one of the things I realized was when our goal to do what we do, for work, commute, braving the sun and the rain and the elements to get to work, if it is for the self, and let's include the family there, sometimes our motivations become selfish by nature. And that if they do not feed our personal needs, we start to detach ourselves. We become demoralized and we stop winning, right? And so let me share with you my idea. And this is my last point for today because I'll open the next couple of minutes for your questions and hopefully I'll be able to answer them. One of the things I realized was that the year 2020, mga pungsoy master, sabi nila. And that's what they said. 2020 was a year of renewal. But I don't think they saw COVID happening by March. And I thought, year of renewal, what does that mean? Until the lockdown happened and everything closed. And my entire business was nothing. I was from January to July, I was booked. I had schedules. So I was booked the entire half of the year. All of them started calling, gone. And I was left to myself with nothing, no business. And so I realized that it was true. 2020 was a year of renewal of purpose. It was a renewal of understanding why do I do what I do right now. And here is my answer. Every day, I get up and open my laptop, look at my messages, answer emails, do these presentations, do speeches and talks and seminars, because I do it for my customers. I get up in the morning for you. For the 700, 600 of you who are watching right now, I got up today for you. Why? Because the moment, and this is my key point for today, the moment you give your customer your uncompromising level of work and level of excellence, this is what happens. These happy customers, they will continue to bless your family. They will be the ones to pay your bills. They will be the ones to pay for that vacation and that meal na pinipicturan mo right now. But get up for the customer. For those of you in government, you know what I mean. Public servant, you're there not for yourselves, but for the people that you serve. Get up in the morning for them. And these people, these happy people, will make you viral on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, because of a great job. And that, ladies and gentlemen, comes from giving. Every time you give, and Kobe Bryant does it for his fans, even though there's politics in management, Michael Jordan was doing it for his fans. People who are gaining blessings right now are abundant because of their giving. But if you're always taking for selfless purposes, then that is not a winning attitude. As salespeople, that's what we're looked at. We're grabbers, we're takers. We always want something for ourselves. But givers are people na sinusuklian ng higit pang blessings. It's not always true that customers are right. Magpakatotoo tayo. Hindi lahat ng customer masarap kausap. Yes, yes, amen. Not all customers masarap kausap. Not all customers are people you want to see early in the morning. May mga customer umagang umaga. But yes, they are still our customers. The customer is not always right, but this customer, my dear friend, is the one that blesses your family. If you have any questions, please let us know. Please type it on the chat box. There are times they're wrong, but they're still our customers. And Kate will be happy to facilitate the questions. You can send it to me directly. You can send it directly to Kate or any of our hosts at Arriva Academy. But the important point, ladies and gentlemen, is that keep going. And that is the line that we say every single time, never stop improving. Ms. Kate?
Thank you so much, Coach Randy. Okay, so right now, we are opening the floor for questions. For those of you who might have questions or clarifications about what we discussed this afternoon, feel free to type it here in the chat box, or you can click the raise hand button. It will allow you to unmute yourself and ask your question directly to our speaker. Reminder, wala pong bayad magtanong.
Correct.
Well, we have some questions already, Coach Randy. Is it okay if I read them already?
Ah, you do?
Yes.
Okay.
Some questions were sent to me already. Here, the first question. Okay. What should one do immediately after a situation where you were not able to control your negativity and everybody is already affected?
Yeah, this is the problem with not regulating your emotions. The problem is the aftermath, the after effect. And this is where, you know, someone says, alam mo, and I'll say this in Tagalog, sorry for our English speaking audience, all right? Is detachment attitude something we can do, or it can be only be a toxic attitude? Okay. So this one person said, ayoko naman kasi pag nagalit para akong granada. Alam mo yun? Puputok. Wala na. Ganun ako. You know, the problem with a grenade is that, yes, puputok, tas wala na. Pero maraming iniwang bangkay. Maraming patay. And so the problem with exploding in emotion is that it leaves casualties. And so when harm has been done, the only noble thing to do is acknowledge. that you made a mistake, and that you acknowledge. It's always about acknowledgement and then action. First, stop making excuses. Eh kasi nung time na yun, eh kasi nung ano hindi ko eh kasi naman nang nangyayari hindi ko control. Stop making excuses. I was angry. I'm sorry. I was not able to hold myself, and I said some bad things, and I'm very sorry. That's not me. It was just a product of that emotion at that moment. And start going into what is your plan of action and what's your commitment towards anyone else and everyone else. And if you need to say sorry to everyone else, then please do. If you want to be apologetic to someone specific, then please do. And detachment is a way of getting away from toxic environments. But the problem is you cannot always detach yourself from people who are toxic, but you need something from them. For example, a report, you need something from accounting. Oh, sorry po sa mga taga-accounting. You need something from them, and sometimes may masungit, mamadali, and mataray, and all of that. And so detachment can only be good for a while, but eventually issues still need to be resolved. And that's why communication still needs to be there. And that's why the most important thing in communication is that when it is done in a stress-free environment. Ms. Kate?
There you go. Thank you so much for that. Okay, let's answer this question here in the chat box. This one is from Jana. Is detachment attitude something we can do, or it can?
Yeah, I answered that question.
Next one.
Congrats. Sige, good luck.
This one is from Alex. What? Why? Or how?
Sige, interpret na lang natin. Okay. If your manager does not accept, is not accepting of their mistakes, one of the famous lines of Francis Kong, he said, "If you cannot change your boss, change your boss." Did you get that? Because sometimes you cannot change people, especially the ones that are in power. But then again, you see, if this is the kind of environment with your boss, my advice to you is this. Ask yourself the question, is it enough to resign? Is it enough to resign? Or it's not worth it? And the most important thing is, even if it can be a toxic environment for you, and of course, I look after your mental health and all of that, no? It's important for everyone not to be bullied or submitted by someone else. Learn to try to get as much information, learning, best practices, and in that way, you start to channel your energy somewhere else. What I did, I also had a bad boss before, and he doesn't accept mistakes. And so what I did was, of course, it was a toxic time when every time he comes into the room, right, in at the office. So I bury myself in serving my customers. I spend a lot of time with my customers, and that's where I find fulfillment in my work as a salesperson, because I'm putting in sales, may benta ako, I have commissions, right? But also at the same time, I also try to learn from my boss. What does he do well? What can I learn from him? And so I stayed with him for 10 years. In fact, we became good friends eventually. But I told him a lot of times that he is a toxic boss, and he knows that.
Okay, thank you for that, Coach Randy. Another question, it was sent to us privately, so I won't be reading their names.
Go ahead.
Mukhang may hugot to, Coach Randy.
Okay.
Here's the question. When you struggle at work and you feel like you're the dumbest in your group.
Dumbest?
Yes.
Okay.
And you really can't understand what to do next. What can be your next step?
One of the best things I read this morning, I was reading Adam Grant's book, Give and Take. No? One of the best things he said in this amazing book, please, I'm going to type it in if you can find it. Adam Grant, he's one of the most well-known young thought leaders of our time right now. He wrote this book, Give and Take, and then he wrote another book, which is another amazing book, Think Different. No? Anyway, he said, think again. Thank you, Angela. No? Think again. Okay. He said, one of the best ways to get out of a slump or to even get something is to actually ask advice from the people you report to. So, and if it can't do that with the person you report to, your boss, your supervisor, maybe you can approach HR. Maybe you can approach someone other manager that you're close with. But that's one of the best first steps. Ask openly advice. If you feel that and you honestly feel that, and I don't think you're the dumbest person in the room because you were hired for a purpose, and if you feel lost in your career, try to ask advice. And that's the first thing. I don't know why you feel that. And so I cannot relate exactly with what you're feeling. But if someone knows you, some other manager knows you, then maybe they can give you some insight on why this happens to you. Maybe you are underperforming. Maybe you feel that you are not meeting your targets and all of that. And that's okay. It happens. That's what we call a slump. But you don't stay in the slump forever. And that's why you need advice from a mentor or a coach that will give you that very important enlightenment that will help you eventually get out of the slump.
Okay, thank you for that, Coach Randy. Another question
Yes.
is, can you give us ways to divert emotional breakdown?
Emotional breakdown. Okay. Music, that's one.
Mhm.
Sports, that's two. A pet, have a pet. That's already a big plus point. Dogs and cats can be stressful, yes, but they can also be great stress relievers. Hang out with friends. Friends are very important, and I mean your close circle. If you can talk to, if that person is abroad, reach out to them. No, your emotional breakdown is not supposed to be a breakdown that's handled alone. And if a dog can do it for you, right? Pumunta ka sa lugar kung saan ka maaaliw. Depende kung anong klaseng aliw ang hinahanap mo. Okay? So, for as long as you can get your mind out of that dark place, whether it be music, whether it be spirituality, worship songs, you know the thing with traffic, Miss Kate, what I do sometimes when I'm really stuck in traffic, all alone, coming from a seminar, I play worship music. In our community, right? So me and Kate are in the same church community. So if you can do that, then you know that there is something bigger than you. That's the most important thing. That is there. Sometimes when we are emotional, we think that everything revolves around us, that everyone is conspiring against us, and that everything is falling down on our shoulders. But you need to realize that there's something bigger. Whether you say it's a God, whether you believe in God or not, whether it be friends, whether it be anything else, for as long as it gets you out of that point, that will help.
Okay, thank you for that. We have a question here. It was sent from one of our viewers here in Facebook. What is the best way to convince the upper management to support, management support the ingredients of psychological safety?
Data. That's number one. Listen, everyone, for all of you, all the hundreds of you, very important is if you want to convince someone, you need to understand what makes them convinced. Do you get it? For example, if they're convinced by data, present them data. Then, if you try to look at psychological safety, and you can find it on Google, look for the tons and tons and hundreds of data backing it up. And if you're not happy with that, then try to look for alternative data on different company cultures. Show them the data and what is good. And the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, psychological safety is not expensive. You don't have to spend money on that. It could be cultural. It could just be in your department. And if the boss says, "Oh, what's going on here? It's so happy or so successful," share with them the psychological safety culture, and we can share it in meetings and in Mancom. And hopefully, it's not expensive. Anyone can do it. So, but it takes a lot of openness and cultural tweaks to do it. So if you need to show them data, then go ahead. And if you need to show them that it works, then show them results. That's the best way to convince anyone, I think.
Okay, another question. Here's an interesting question. How to limit overthinking?
How to limit overthinking? Sometimes I think something will happen, it doesn't. How many times have you overthought, and it didn't happen? Then get a clue. Because sometimes, again, going back to the concept of control, we overthink because we want to control. And I cannot blame you. It could be the OC in you. I am an OC person. I like everything in order. I am always on time. All right. Kate knows that, and they hate me for that. I'm even ahead of time. My client yesterday was so surprised. My talk was 1:30. I was there at 11:30. So I had this need to control things, but I understand that there are things I cannot control. And that is why you start making preparations. Uulan o hindi? Magdala ka ng payong. Mata-traffic ba? O hindi. Umalis ka na maaga. Right? So try to, rather than overthink, try to prepare ahead of time so that you don't overthink a lot of things. And most of the time, and listen to your body. What overthinking does to you. And are you happy with that? Then get a clue. It's not worth it.
Okay, I think we're down to our last question. So
Go
we
ahead.
have questions here, Coach Randy, asking all about how to develop positive mindset despite toxic working environment. But this one's very, very specific. So here's your question. It was sent to us privately.
Thank you very much for that question. I am Miss Philippines. Go ahead.
Here it is. Ano pong pwedeng gawin pag may kasamahan ka na gumagawa ka ng tama sa work tapos ginagawa niyang mali lahat, parang naghahanap ng butas sa'yo?
Eh di wag mo siya nabigyan ng butas. And okay, everyone listening to me right now, this is what you do, okay? If you have someone beside you, to your left and to your right, okay? I cannot hear you right now, but if you're in a conference room, if you're with someone at the office, say this to them loud and proud, okay? Sabihin mo sa katabi mo, sabihin mo sa kanya, kayo nang bahala, kung kailangan mo siyang hawakan, batukan, bahala ka na. Sabihin mo sa kanya, kapatid, sabihin mo sa kanya, kapatid, sasabit ka din. Say, kapatid, sasabit ka din. One way or the other, you will make a mistake, all right? And maybe this is, okay, you have to think this way, okay? Number one, it could be jealousy, right? Could be envy, right? Okay? So this person is looking at something, trying to find some kind of mistake, right? But also, ask yourself this question, have I wronged this person? Have I done something to make this person do this to me? Sometimes we think we're the victim when actually we're the suspect. Think about it, all right? So some people say, oh, I'm so kawawa and all that, but what they're doing is they're actually the ones victimizing others. Now, I'm sorry if you ask that question, if you feel offended about that, but always have that open-mindedness to ask, baka naman ako may problema. Think again about, by Adam Grant, is exactly about that. Always ask yourself the question, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's me. Ask yourself that question. And if it's not you, and try to ask other people, is it me? Is there something wrong about me? Ask. And the problem is, if you're surrounded by yes people, then people say no, right? So if you can find someone who can be brutally honest with you, hindi kasi ganito ginawa mo eh. This is what you did, right? And this is what you imbibe in this person. And this is your aura with this person. That's why they're like this to you. And so also ask yourself, is there something wrong with me? But also try to be direct and say, okay, what did I do? Did I do anything to you? Is there anything I can help you with? How can we resolve this? Okay? Wala po kayong sasagotang test. All right? So try to check. Be open on both sides. Number one, baka nainggit. Number two, tanongin mo na. Tanongin mo rin yung iba, baka naman ikaw may problema. Maybe it's your problem. It's your fault. And so, at a certain point, ladies and gentlemen, if you're doing a good job, that is the result of doing a good job. When you're doing well, there will be envy, there will be jealousy, because they want to have something that you have. So just keep going. Don't mind it. And I can say you can't mind it because it can affect you emotionally. But keep on doing the good work.
There you have it. Thank you so much, Coach Randy. Maraming salamat po. For those who are asking about the evaluation form, yes, the link is there already. You can just click that link and then fill out the form and then send it back to us. We will greatly appreciate it. Now again, Coach Randy, thank you so much. Because of that, we'd like to present you with the certificate. Let me just read this.
Shout out.
There you go. Arriva Academy Learning Development Athletes Finance. To Coach Randy A. Guerra for generously sharing his professional expertise, invaluable knowledge, and wisdom to the delegates of developing positive attitude and winning mindset. Held on January 17, 2023 via Zoom platform. Signed by Chairman and Chief Strategist Learning Event Producer J.M. Matienzo and President and Chief Learning and Development Strategist Michelle Iris Malonda Samson. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our speaker, Coach Randy Guerra. Thank you so
Hey, Jordan. Hello, Jordan. How are you?
You've been very generous this afternoon,
Hello,
Coach.
Miss Birna.
And I am sure all of our participants appreciate what they heard from you. And sana mai-apply talaga agad sa work. Okay. Now, before we call it a day, I'd like to invite everyone to turn on their cameras. For those of you who are able to, please do so that you can join us in this group photo.